this program for the year.
Yes, and I believe Amanda is on with us today too. So I will let Amanda Dow, she's with the Duke Energy Science Foundation, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about what she does at Duke Energy Foundation. So Amanda, if you would like to say a few words.
Sure, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm having to join by phone. Our computers do not like Zoom, so I apologize for that. But I want to say I'm Amanda Dow. I'm the director of the Duke Energy Foundation here in South Carolina, and my job is to work with wonderful organizations like yourself in trying to get grant funds out into the community to basically enhance our communities, and we felt like this project was definitely one that was going to do that and really try to garner that interest in our students really young for science and engineering. Is what we really love to see, and so that's why we're excited to be a part of this program. And to be able to get this out to the various schools that are involved. I do want to say thank you to each of you as educators for what you do. It is definitely a calling, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate the partnership.
Yes, we definitely appreciate the partnership as well. And I also included this map that you shared with us. Amanda, if you want to talk a little bit about what's going on here.
Absolutely. So this is what we call our district manager map. And these are the folks in our government and community relations team. And I work very closely with these individuals in doing my grant making. And so, as part of the Duke Energy Science Nights, we ask each of them, I've sent them the calendar of events of all the different science nights that'll be going on. Each one of these individuals have service territories, and you'll see that in the color coded which ones own which territories. We've asked each one of them to try and attend as many of these science nights that they can in their territories. If there's volunteer opportunities for our own employees to come in and be a part of these and help out in any way they can, we want them to know about that so that we can organize that. But this is just a way for us to continue that partnership and be more involved. This group of individuals are very involved in the communities, in the government, and leadership of your communities. And so they like to tell those leaders in your communities about the things that they attend. So it's really beneficial for them and for you, for those folks to get out, be able to be a part of this and see firsthand what the foundation is doing in the communities and how they can be represented. So I've put that map, we have that map available for you guys to reach out to the district manager. I've already provided them with the information of the science nights and the contacts at those, but it's definitely an opportunity for you to reach out to them and say, hey, here's what we're actually going to be doing at our science night. Would love for you to attend. There are opportunities for volunteer, or there may not be, and we understand that. They also have the ability to bring in additional information for your community. So we would be able to bring in on that same science night maybe some information about utility assistance or weatherization programs, things that the parents of the students of your communities and your school may be interested in. Since we did garner this for Title I type schools, we know that there are larger populations of individuals who may need assistance with utilities and that sort of thing. So these individuals would be able to bring that additional information in on your science night and maybe have a booth set up or something.
Yeah, that was perfect, Amanda. Thank you. And don't feel like you need to like memorize who your district manager is or their contact information. I will be sending you all an email with your district manager's name and contact info so you can reach out to them. And I know they're all really excited to support your events. So I would highly encourage you to reach out and invite them to your events. And I can't guarantee that their schedule will allow them to make it to everyone's events, but this is still a really great way to build those community partnerships.
Elena,
Yes.
can you check the waiting room? We have a couple emails coming in saying folks can't get in.
Oh, all right. Let's try that.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
So sorry for anyone who I failed to let in on time. I'm so sorry. All right. And again, thank you so much, Amanda, for joining our webinar today. It's very much appreciated. All right. And speaking of partnerships, we could not coordinate Duke Energy Science Night efforts alone. We receive a lot of support from our partners. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Catherine Mulholland. She is the Executive Director of South Carolina's Coalition for Mathematics and Science. Of course, Amanda Dow, who is with the Duke Energy Foundation. And then we also have some partners in North Carolina, Eric McIntosh and Kim Moore. Tracy and I actually work very closely with Kim throughout this whole process. The NC Sci-Fest team is the team that develops the activities. They create and acquire all of the resources and materials. They coordinate the packing and shipping of the kits. So they are really doing the bulk of the labor that's involved with creating and getting these kits sent out to the schools. Tracy and I really focus on connecting you with all the information and support that you need for a successful Duke Energy Science Night. So we are very thankful for all of our partners who have helped us make this a really successful program in South Carolina. And then Tracy and I mentioned that we work for South Carolina's Coalition of Mathematics and Science, also known as SCCMS, because sometimes that's just a lot to say all the time. We also have several partner organizations that fall under the umbrella of SCCMS, and you can see each of their logos here on the screen. Each of these organizations and initiatives share a common goal of inspiring learning and leadership in STEM education throughout South Carolina. I also want to put in a quick plug for our Growing in STEM Grants program. The deadline for this grant opportunity is just around the corner, but it sounds like the chances are pretty good if you can get an application in. We will award 5 educators across South Carolina up to $2,500 to fund a STEM-focused school project. So maybe you've been thinking about starting a school garden, purchasing robots, taking your class on a really cool field trip. Plus, you would also receive 1 day of free professional development delivered by an ed specialist from the STEM centers. So definitely look into that opportunity and get an application in if you can, because this could really benefit your classroom and your students. So we put this map together that shows where each of our Duke Energy Science Night schools for 2025 are located. So make sure you see yourself on the map. I know some of them are kind of clustered together, so they're kind of hard to see, but we want to make sure we don't leave anyone out. But I love looking at this map because you can see just how much ground is being covered with this program. I love to see that. And of course, the Duke Energy Science Night program is a celebration of South Carolina STEM Education Month, which runs from March 14th, which is Pi Day, through April 14th, which is World Quantum Day. The coalition's goals this year have been really focused on supporting quality mathematics learning experiences. So our theme for STEM Education Month this year is Math Forward. And we have been really intentional about incorporating math activities and math connections in our Duke Energy Science Night activities. And we'll take a look at those here shortly. And this is also an invitation to join us at STEM Day at the Capitol, which will be taking place the morning of April 2nd. And that will be at the State House in Columbia, where we're going to be celebrating STEM education in South Carolina with students, educators, and our business and industry partners. So if you are able to, we would absolutely love to see you there. Here are just some fun pictures from last year's events. And we would like to know if you have hosted a Duke Energy Science Night before. So if you have, go ahead and type in the chat maybe how many years you have hosted a science night. And maybe if this is your first year, go ahead and just say that this is your first year that you'll be hosting an event. 4th year, that's awesome. 3rd year? lots of veterans. I see some first years. That's so exciting. Awesome. We have like a good combination of veterans and rookies. I love that. All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We're looking forward to seeing some new faces and very excited to see some old faces as well. All right, here's a list of all of the resources that will be delivered to you in your kit. So when you first open up your kit, you're going to see this binder. In this binder is going to be all of the paper resources. Here, let me open up real quick. I'm going to take these out for a second. I will get back to them. I feel like I'm reading a story to the class right now. So it's going to have your planning guide. It's going to have your activity guides, your instruction guides, instruction sheets, and it will also have your table cards. And everything will have the English as well as Spanish versions. There are some additional resources that are going to be in the pocket of that binder. There's going to be a little welcome letter. There's going to be a welcome sign, and there's actually a plastic sign holder that's going to come in your kit. You can put this in that and have it on like the welcome table when your guests first walk into your event. And it's also going to have a flat robot. This is Tinker. He's like our mascot for Duke Energy Science Nights. And he just pops right on out of here. And he is great for promoting your events. If you want to put him in different places around your school and maybe take some pictures for social media, he's great for that. There are also resources. All of these resources are available online right now. And I did send everyone an email that has a link that will take you straight to those resources if you would like to take a sneak peek at them, or if you ever need to print any additional copies of them. The materials for the activities themselves are very well organized and easy to find. Most of the supplies that you need for each activity are going to be in one plastic bag with the activity labeled on it and a list of all the materials that should be in that bag. So for example, this is the bag that has all of the materials that you'll need for the Create a Coaster. And there is a little piece of paper in here that will have the label of the activity and also a checklist of all the materials that should be in this baggie for that activity. So in addition to all of these physical resources, we are also a resource for you to help guide and support you. So we definitely encourage you to continue attending our support webinars or watching our recordings if that works better for you. And of course, reach out to us with any questions or concerns that you might have. And this planning guide that's in your binder, this is going to become like your Bible for Duke Energy Science Night. It will include any and all information you'll need to coordinate a successful event. For example, it will have information on how it might work best to lay out your space for your events, tips for recruiting and engaging volunteers. It has a timeline in it to help you plan your event, like when the best time to start publicizing your event, when to start communicating with volunteers. There's tips for facilitating the activities and just so much more. It pretty much covers all of the bases. But of course, if you still have questions after reviewing the planning guide, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And then this is an example of what the activity guides will look like. They include all of the instructions on how to conduct the experiment or do the activity, the science behind the activity, a list of materials that you'll need, which includes both what will come in your kit and maybe any additional materials that are not going to be provided in your kit, such as like markers, or if they recommend that you have paper towels handy if it's one of those messier experiments or activities. They also include all of the standards that are covered with that activity, as well as an additional math connection that you can incorporate if you would like to take it a step forward with your participants. And here is a list of activities that are going to be included in your kit. If you have hosted a Duke Energy Science Night before, you may recognize a couple activities. The activities we use are on a rotation, so some of them are going to be repeats from previous years. But I'm really excited because we do have 2 brand new activities, Cosmic Coding and Easy as Pie. I think that they are really fun and engaging activities, so I'm very excited for you all to share those with your students and their families. And of course, we try our best to make sure that we have a wide variety of topics covered through our activities. So you can see that we've got, cell structure, engineering, forces in motion, plants, sound. So there's something for everyone to get excited about with these activities. The kits are currently in a warehouse in North Carolina, getting ready to be shipped in the next week. The kits will have all of your resources and materials. I will be sending out a reminder email once the kits have shipped, and I'll ask you to respond to that email to confirm that you received the kit and that all of the resources and materials are accounted for. The kits are very well organized when they're packed, so you should be able to find all your supplies very easily. So if you do notice that something is missing, please let us know right away. So this is what your kit is going to look like as soon as you open up the package. You can see it's very, very well organized. This is my dog Riggins. He was very excited to see what was in the box, although I think he might have been a little disappointed. I think he thought it was a box from Chewy and he thought there were going to be treats and toys for him in there. So he was a little disappointed, but you will not be disappointed because everything in the kit is awesome. All right, just an overview of what our timeline will look like this spring. Moving forward, the kits are scheduled to ship on February 3rd, so be on the lookout for your kit to be delivered, and then make sure you confirm with us that you received the kit and all of the supplies are included. We will have another webinar in February where we will take a deeper dive into the activities so you feel comfortable with them. And I also encourage any veterans to share any tips or tricks that work really well for those activities if you've done them before. The month of March 14th through April 14th will be your events. We have shared your event dates and times with our staff as well as with our Duke Energy partners. So if any of us are able to, we love to come out and support your events, meet with you, and take pictures for our social media platforms. Unfortunately, we won't be able to make it to every single one of your events, but we know that your events are going to be amazing. We also have an evaluation that we do expect to receive back from you. The deadline to complete that will be April 25th, but we will send that out at a later date. You do not need to worry about it yet. And then at the end of April, we will host a final webinar to get your feedback on what you thought went well, or maybe some things that we can work on improving for next year. So that was a really quick overview of what you can expect for the spring. What questions, comments, concerns might you have before we sign off for the day?
So there's a couple questions in the chat.
Okay.
One question was the schedule to ship, and we covered that one, I think. We're
Okay.
not sure what day, but we will get notice when they ship out, and so we'll be able to reach out to you guys and let you know it's on the way. Be on the lookout for it, that type of thing. Another question is, what if my date changes? Who do I need to contact? You can send an email to the DESN at this address that's on the screen, the one you've been receiving other communications from. And Elaine and I will receive your email, and then we'll follow up with all the actions we need to take to notify the people that we've shared dates with. So We'll let Duke Energy know there's a change in your date. We'll let our staff member who might have volunteered to come visit your site that there's a change in the date. So just keep us informed if your date has to change. We understand mandates come from places you weren't expecting and things can happen. So just the main thing is communicate with us, because what we don't want to have happen is people show up to visit your event and there not be an event. So that's pretty tough. So just keep us posted and we'll do everything we can to get the word out when you send us a change. Do the activities come with recommended grade levels? The activities are all, let me say this, they come with a correlation to a specific standard. So we picked the standard that we thought was most directly related to that activity. However, that does not mean that's the only grade level that would be able to or interested in engaging in that activity. The activities are very broad. You can scaffold them up and down for various grade levels. So you can decide that. There is enough materials in the kit for 200 students to do each activity. So depending on your numbers and your time, you may set up something where you encourage students to visit 5 out of 10, or you may divide them into if your school grade is a K5, you may divide it into a K2 or a 3-5. We have had all kinds of examples from some of the folks. Some of them are on the line today of different ways they've done it. So in one of our upcoming webinars, we can include that if we'd like to make a note of that, Elena, as tips on, how to manage the activities and the numbers. We can include that and have some folks share some ideas. Yeah, Rita put in the chat with her experience. All the kids love to do all the activities. So, and there's extensions if you want to extend them out to be more challenging, and then you can always scaffold them down for the younger kids if you need to. I'm checking the chat to see. Very much a family event. Rita's reminding us that, when families come to the event, they often bring their older brothers and sisters, and even the parents like to get involved. So the activities are designed so that, you can, although you may have one student who's creating the example or the model, other students or their families can help them and join in. So. Oh, and Kim, we're excited about your event this year. Kim is sort of doing a pilot project for us this year, so to speak. She has done a Duke Energy Science Night event in her district before, but she's in a new role in the community at the technical college. And so she is reaching out to other entities in her community that want to participate as well. And you can certainly do that. If it's your first year, you may feel a little overwhelmed, so you may stick to just what's in the box and work your way through that. But as you get more experience with these kinds of events and the kinds of activities that run well, you'll feel more comfortable inviting other folks in. So there's all kind of ways you can extend it to your community. You can have other STEM related businesses and industries come in and share. You can ask them to host an activity as well. You can turn it into your own little festival. You can have older students come in from National Honor Society, STEM clubs, robotics clubs, do demonstrations or assist with activities. So many things we've seen people do. Am I missing any? Oh, time frame for each activity. Somebody's answered that one. It's 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes shorter. Yes, it varies greatly. It's not a set time. It's going to depend on how much working space you have, how many people can be there to help facilitate it. Most of them are not more than 15 minutes. Occasionally there's one where, a material has to have time to set up or get in place, whatever, but usually it's 10 to 15 minutes. Anybody else have a question? You can use your microphone or the chat. I'm open for either one. You can always reach out to us if you have questions in between. Something pops in your mind that after the webinar, just send it to us. We'll do the best we can to answer it, or we'll hop on a call with you at any time. One of the things you'll notice, and you may have looked, if you've had time to look at it, some of you who have done the Duke Energy Science Night before will notice this is the first year you're going to start seeing some activities resurface, I think. So one of the things that our partners at NC SciFest do is they have a library of vetted activities that they have used over the years. They're like in year 11, I think, of this program. So they recycle activities. So there'll be certain ones that come up like every 3 to 4 years. You'll see some other ones come up that you may have seen before. So you'll begin to see that. This year, there is several that you may have seen before. Anybody else got a question for us? Melissa is asking a question about space. Would your cafeteria or gym typically work? It would if you have enough room in there, for traffic flow and to set your tables up. You'll want to look at the activities. Sometimes there's a little bit of water involved in one or two activities, so you'll need to decide the best way to handle that. We have seen people do it many, many different ways. We've seen people do cafeteria, gym, part outside, part inside, classrooms, stations. It's totally up to you how you want to manage your space and your crowd and your traffic flow. But you can do it in a gym and a cafeteria. Are there events throughout the summer for students provided by Duke Energy? I am not aware at this time of events from Duke Energy, but that's a question we can pass on to our partner and ask her if there's anything and to let us know, and then we could pass that on to you. I'm not aware of anything at this time that they do as far as like a STEM camp or a science camp, but I can ask that question. We had a shout out that classroom stations have worked well at a school. A suggestion for sign-ups if you have limited space. Do any activities require electricity? Elena, do you remember the answer to that question? I don't think.
I don't think so.
Not this
No.
year. We have had an AI activity in the past where you needed laptops, but I don't think that's true this year. I don't think there's an activity.
Yeah, and even with the coding activity that we have, it's an unplugged coding activity, so laptops, computers aren't necessary for it.
Right. There is one activity that is more of an outside activity this year. Some of you will recall the Galilean Cannon. It's about bouncing things and it can go high if you really strategize. So that is definitely a gym or an outside activity. It is not a regular classroom height activity. And if you look on these, when you get access to your printed materials, or if you decide to go online and look in advance before you get them next week, over in the margin, it will tell you certain things you might need to consider about each activity. If it has water, or if it's messy, or if it needs a high ceiling, it'll tell you those things over. It points them out over on the side notes. Anybody else? Good questions. Yes, the notebook is very it is really a turnkey planning guide. There's more in there than you'll probably need, but that's what we go for, is to meet everybody's needs. So it's a pretty well-rounded planning guide with step by step. You may not need step by step, but if you do, it's there. I think one of the best things about it is it gives you enough. If you're the leader of this project at your school, it gives you everything you need to just pass it on and know that they've got what they need when you hand it to them. You hand them the bag of materials, you hand them the guides, and then eventually, we didn't talk about this today, but eventually our partners at North Carolina will release videos which walk you through the activity, and you give them your volunteers a link, whoever's manning the stations, a link to the video, and it walks them through everything, like how to set it up, what it's going to look like, what to troubleshoot for. So it's great. What else would you like to know? We're going to stick around. I'm going to let Elena wrap up, but we'll be on for a few minutes if you want to stick around and ask us anything extra, just hang out. We'll be here.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us today and enjoy the rest of your evening. I don't know about where you're at, but here in Greer, it is absolutely beautiful outside. And again, please let us know if you think of any questions or have any concerns. And again, our email is up there on the screen. Don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Excuse me, where are the videos located again?
They will be on YouTube. That link will be provided to us by our partners, but they are not there yet.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Yep,
welcome.
I'll be sure to send you an email with a link to them once they're ready.
It's
Okay,
usually the last resource that comes online.
okay. Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you. You're welcome to sign off if you've got somewhere you need to be. If you need to stick around and ask us, hang out with us.